the city of Decatur, like a lot of local governments, especially in our area, is faced with declining population, declining property tax base, and tax base all over, and expenses that, of course, continue to increase. So what would be your approach in addressing this during the next term?
Well, as you know, a lot of the money that the city uses in our, general fund comes from sales taxes. And so we'd really like to see, as the economy rebounds, to see more economic development as far as that's going to generate sales tax. Now, along with that, you need the really good jobs. Not that a city council person can increase jobs, but it's really kind of everybody's part to raise us up. We need high-paying jobs here, which will then translate into more people having more disposable income that they can go out and spend more money, so we can attract more retailers.
Jerry?
Well, I think raising taxes is always going to be the absolute last resort. Julie brought up a good point. Sales tax is pretty much the bread and butter of our budget. Property taxes is a very small portion. And we need to really grow the pie. Sure, we'd love to have a factory located here, but we have the EDC and we have other people that are focusing on this full time. As a council member, you're really not that involved. But there's some major retailers that Champaign, Bloomington, and Springfield have that I think we need to have here. So as far as economic development, I hate when certain segments say, well, we don't need any more retail. We really need a factory that's going to employ these people. Well, when our budget is pretty much sales tax, retail is very important.
Derek?
Along the lines of, let me see, if you don't mind, I'll start with economic development first.
Okay.
Economic development, to me, I think, just like in the Richland, a few candidates from Richland stated, we have to produce a group of individuals who can help develop the economic development. And when I say that is we must make sure that we have the skilled laborers that businesses is wanting to come to the city of Decatur for. If they're looking for welders, if they're looking for pipe fitters, if they're looking for laborers, we must have those available. And with that, as we teach, train, and develop those individuals, I believe economic development will increase. Businesses will come. I can certainly say we have the retail for it.
Okay, thanks. Pat?
Well, there are so many variables that have to be taken in consideration. First of all, we need to be good stewards. Anybody on the council needs to be good stewards of our resources, which, as you've pointed out, are stagnated or reducing to a certain extent. I believe in economic development through enterprise zones and TIF districts if they're realistic and make financial sense. Again, many communities and states across the country are looking at some of the things they've done with TIFs and economic development, and it's costing them more per job than what is actually happening. So we have to be very, very realistic when we look at any additional TIF districts down the road. Again, it's been stated, sales tax is extremely important, and so we have to be cognizant of that to make sure that we have that income coming in, because property taxes are kind of, with the EAV going down this year, I mean, we'll be happy to see our individual tax bills, but at the same time, that's less money coming into our not only the city's coffers, but the park district, school district. We have to be careful on our fees and rates that we raise. Again, we have 14% unemployment in Decatur. We have a lot of people that are trying to find full-time jobs and can't do it. So again, being a good steward of our resources, but also represent the citizens of Decatur so they'll stay here. Then you take what we can do, but we also have to look at Springfield. As an old saying when I was in military service, they need to get I'll clean it up, they need to get their heads out of their duffel bags, because that affects not only Decatur, Champaign, and Bloomington, and the surrounding the communities. if they don't get the pension straightened out and watch their spending, get their fees down, and the taxes, we can be all set here in Decatur with the greatest infrastructure and everything, but people aren't going to look. New businesses aren't going to look at us. So if they're not looking at Illinois, they're not going to look at Decatur. So again, it's so many variables that have to be taken into consideration, and again, working with the other taxing agencies and seeing how we can cooperate and get our overall operation costs down if we can combine to a certain extent, collaborate with other taxing bodies so we can cut the old costs down so everybody benefits.